Hey, what's up, Internet? It is the end of the 5th day of Ritual League, and a lot of stuff has happened in the past couple of days. Finally got into our Atziri's Reflection setup, our Coward's Legacy. Just got the 1 Essence Worm right now. Wrecking a pretty decent Corrupted Ring I got out of Ritual here in the other slot. Picked up Awakened Added Cold and Awakened Cold Pen. Typically I'd try to get Awakened Control Destruction first, but price on that gem has gone up a little bit since past couple of leagues. I also switched over to Trigger Wand just to mess with that for a while. I just have Cold Snap in here. The Cold Snap goes off whenever I use a skill. Mostly the changes here are for Atziri's Reflection. So, you know, we could spec out of Sanctum of Thought. I don't have a good large jewel here yet, so I'm just going straight from the Cold Conduction into Blessed still. We have some other points floating about, like here in Divine Judgment. And I'm still using this agility. It's kind of in an awkward... I want to get rid of this, obviously. I have a little bit too much agility, actually. But I can't just drop this just yet. All told, we're doing pretty good. I've already killed Cirrus on A5 once. I accidentally spawned Drox up here after I already had this stone. So I'm actually not going to be at Awakener 6 when I clear this. Do a couple more maps here. But we're just about to hit Awakener 6, basically. We've only got a couple of regions. You know, we've got to clear out New Vastir and Lyra. Got a few more to get out up here. Most of these are done, though. And we're getting close. We're also doing a lot better on the Maven stuff, finally. Going into Beyond up here. I went into this Trespassers and Exotic Goods, the one that adds invasion bosses and makes them drop one additional valuable item, because I just wanted to see what this meant. And unfortunately, I don't even have much to report. I've run a bunch of maps with this node. I don't really know what they mean. I couldn't tell you. Sometimes I'll get an invasion boss that drops like a small pile of decent stuff, like currency and then like a couple other items. Other times they don't seem to drop anything. Whatever they are dropping, my loot filter is not impressed with. Unfortunately, I've not been impressed with either of these two nodes up here. The basic currency from the Ground Kingdom. These ones, I might change these around. I'm going to spend some more time farming up here to get a better idea of their value, but not impressed so far, that's for sure. Down here, I think I'm going to go Alva Legion. I'll probably wind up specking out of this Vol Oligarchs. I mentioned in the last video that I wasn't super impressed with this either. And so I'm only going to have one Alva region where I spend my Alva missions, so I've decided I'm going to move that down here. Up here, we're just going to go into Delirium and probably Parandus. I'm not crazy about the Metamorph options here. And since this other one's Alva, it'll probably be 3 and 2 Delirium, Parandus up here. Here in Lex, we also went Harvest. It's hard for me to turn down Harvest, honestly. It's one of my favorite League mechanics. Now that it's gone core, it's way better than it was, I think, when the Harvest League actually happened. But I definitely want these. Eventually, we'll probably drop this, you know. Once we get up to like 98 or something, we really don't need additional experience. I don't know what I'll do after that. We'll probably grab Seance. And then maybe one of the Breach nodes. I'm not too concerned about that last bit there. Also going Legion down here. I haven't fully decided what I'll do after I pick up the Legion nodes down here. Again, I'm not a big fan of Delve. I'm not crazy about spending the points into any of the Delve nodes. This Rogue Exiles line reminds me an awful lot of this Invasion line. A little bit concerned to how valuable that might even be. Votive Horde doesn't really sound that interesting to me either. Rare items dropping with Abyssal Sockets might be cool. It's possible that there's some value there in terms of high-end crafting. I mentioned in Valdo's Rest I went here, and I was telling you to be a little bit concerned about this high yield, and make sure you know that it seems to be doubling the power of itemized, like the pieces you put in, instead of just making the bar take 50% less power to fill. So you will actually create much stronger metamorphs here. I probably am going to respec those points out, and on my next, like when I finish this 6 point, I'll probably take those 2 out and then come 4 into this Harbinger line. I found out, you probably know this by now, but over the past couple days I found out that this diplomatic escort basically adds 5 Harbingers to this Harbinger, the one that's guaranteed to put on the map. So it's just a big ball of 6 Harbingers wherever this one spawns, and all of them drop 2 additional stacks of currency, which sounds pretty cool. So that's probably going to be my choice, like 2 Metamorph, 2 Harbinger, and then whatever for the last one. Maybe we'll even come back into high yield at the end. And then down here, this is where I have the least progress so far. I took the inside job. I personally still kind of like Heist, and this 10% chance for blueprints to be fully revealed is really sweet in my opinion. This one was hard for me to pass up. Otherwise, I'm probably going to go into bestiary here. 10% more Ironheart missions, and then basically just rare beasts. But this one's up in the air too. Flash Breach sounds kind of interesting. Just because really the downside of Breach to me is that they're so slow. So getting them to open and close twice as fast is pretty cool. Might be interesting. But if I take the bestiary, it will also open me to take that sort of meme Muddy Hunter node for my last 2, which does sound pretty cool. I figure usually we do something in these league start updates, so I figured we jump in and do the next Maven boss encounter. Now Lyra is not that far. I think this is a 5 boss, yeah. And these, at this point, you know, when we've got the reflection and this kind of setup, this isn't really too hard. Although usually those are the kind of things that get you killed when you say them out loud. Generally, I just watch to see which bosses. 2 of them spawn down here, so we put our items down here. We pretty much gank them before they get started on anything. We're still strong enough to freeze all these bosses. So, pretty simple. These are definitely worth doing, though, not just for the skill points, but for the fact that she always seems to drop very good maps for me. One of them down here in New Vastir, when I did, I think it was the 3-point one, like the very first one, she dropped 2 Shaper Guardian maps, which was kind of strange to me. Like we were just talking about, I think I will go into Bestiary here. Go for those rare beasts and have a good place to spend our Bestiary missions down here in the bottom right. But yeah, things are going really well. I've said this in the past video, but if you're concerned about the Hierophant nerfs as far as freezing pulse totems, I really wouldn't be. I haven't had any issues farming to get all of this gear that you saw in the previous videos. We pretty much just blasted our way. Maybe we're not the fastest build in the world, but it definitely was not very hard to get up to tier 16s. It didn't feel particularly different to me than past leagues. I will forever say that I think the nerf on Pursuit of Faith was overdone, and I do think they need to come back and put some of that damage back into Ritual Awakening, probably. But all told, it still feels really strong. Obviously, the single target's definitely not any worse than it used to be, and you've always got the option of dropping like an Ice Spear instead of a Freezing Pulse if you want something specifically for bosses like Cirrus, like single target bosses. I don't know if I'd do that necessarily for these multi-boss Maven fights where your totems kind of have to shoot in different directions sometimes. It'll probably be particularly noticeable on like the 10 boss fight, where the wider coverage of Freezing Pulse is going to give you probably more effective DPS when you're hitting multiple targets that are in different directions. My Spear is pretty bad at hitting moving targets to begin with. But yeah, everything's going very smooth, and I suspect within the next couple of days here, Awaken Rate's going to be done, and we'll be getting into the final versions of some of these higher end invitations. I already have this one. This will probably be in the next video, actually. Assuming I have time to farm up a little bit more, where we fight all 4 of the Shaper Guardians. I actually have killed all 4 of them with her witnessing. So theoretically, I could chuck this into the device right now and do it. I also think that that would probably end in my death, because I want a little bit more damage. They're pretty tanky when the Maven is involved. It tends to give them healing buffs and things like that. And even with Frost Bomb, I don't like if they have like 4 or 5 seconds where they're healing without the Frost Bomb, they're going to gain a bunch of health back. I have a feeling this will be kind of a protracted fight, and I want to have more raw DPS going in here before this one. We've also got that version for synthesis bosses, which I think I have 3 of the 4 of these, and then the Elder Guardian bosses, which I'm only missing the Constrictor, I think. So maybe we'll, in the next video, we'll just sit and try to do at least one of these, if not more than one. It's obviously going to be a little bit harder to get that one done. You have a lot less control over finding those maps unless you pay for them. And apparently this is how you do the 10 boss fights. You actually have to get like a random invitation to do that, even though you still have to, like, it tracks the amount of bosses you've got towards the 10 fight. Obviously I've got 1, 2, just 2 right now that are ready to work on that 10 fight progress, but you still need to get this sort of drop, I guess, to give you the opportunity to put mods on it like this if you want better rewards. Yeah, that's gonna do it for this video, I think. We're 95. We have taken 2 deaths, I think. Yeah, 1, as I mentioned in the description of the last video, was before they fixed the Cirrus dominated rare mobs, and one of them just one-shot me out of nowhere. That second death was on stream today, walking into one of those synthesis maps that had a couple of damage mods on it. And it was like right at the start of the map. As soon as I set foot in there, the first pack all targeted me at once before I even really had my bearings. It killed me pretty much instantly. But the build has held up pretty well. For how I would say rippy the endgame content is compared to last patch, where suddenly we have Cirrus joining Conqueror maps. We have Maven buffing basically any boss she's witnessing. Now we're gonna have even harder stuff to do. I'm pretty satisfied with how the build is performing. If you want to come check out some of these fights, I may wind up doing some of these on stream instead of saving them all for YouTube. So if you want to stop by the stream, you can find me at twitch.tv/WallachTV. I typically stream in the afternoon Pacific time. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up here. I will catch you guys in the next video, and hopefully we'll be getting into some real juicy endgame content. Until then.